Cutting corners can kill you, not to mention what it'll do to your business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and our idiom, our expression today is about cutting corners, cutting off corners. Now, this idiom, I never had such negative connotations with it, or I never thought of it as such a negative thing, because when I hear cut corners, I think faster, easier, more efficient, more effective. Being a quality professional for decades, to me, continuous improvement was always looking for a better, faster, easier, more efficient, more effective way of doing something. However, with the caveat that the end result had to be better or the same as what you were already producing in order for that change to occur. Now, in my personal experience and my corporate experience, that isn't always what happened, right? Even though we are quality focused and focusing on the end result and the best customer experience, sometimes in some of the businesses I worked for, we had people that would actually do shortcuts, take shortcuts and cut corners. Now, why do I say cutting corners can kill you? Because if we cut corners in any area or aspect of our life, we can put ourselves at risk. Scientists have actually done studies and found that people that cut corners with the negative connotation tend to be, and I'm going to look this up because I found it kind of eye-opening and fascinating because I never thought of it as such a negative expression before, but now I do. It said they tend to be self-focused, impulsive. Potential for cutting corners leads to increased risks. They tend to be, employees who cut corners tend to be morally compromised, low in conscientiousness, and self-focused. And I'm like, wow, that says a lot about people because they cut corners. Now, cut corners in a negative way, this is an expression that's been around since at least the 1800s. It's got linkages back to fox hunting. Fox hunting was done normally on riding horses, and then you'd follow dogs who were chasing the fox. And to save time and to catch up with the dogs faster, sometimes the people, the hunters riding horseback, would not go right behind the dogs. They would find different routes, or they would cut corners to get to where the dogs were, catch up with the dogs faster. It also comes from the driving, the actual act of driving. When people wanted to get from point A to point B faster, they would cut the corners. They would, drive around the corners and cut off the corners, not necessarily take a sharp corner or a sharp turn, because you have to slow down to do that. They would just zip around the corner. If you've ever driven with my son, you know exactly what that means. Or my daughter, she does that as well. Not so much anymore, but I don't know about you, but as a parent, it's always nerve-wracking for me to drive with my kids or ride with my kids. So how does this apply to our business? What can we do, and how do we use this understanding that there's a difference, there's a fine line between cutting corners and doing things that are unsafe or risky in our business in order to save time and energy and money and other resources, and actually looking for continuous improvement in our organizations. Cutting corners in your business, cutting corners in my health. A long time ago, I cut corners in my health, and it literally did cause me to have, or I resulted in, didn't cause me to have, cutting corners resulted in me having a sudden cardiac arrest and dying. That's why I say cutting corners can actually kill you. If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't take care of your business, if you don't do things in the proper way to ensure that the results your customers are getting or the products and services that you're producing for the customers you're serving are good, high quality, ethical, legal, moral products and services, you're setting yourself up for legal challenges, liability, court cases, customer service nightmares at the least, or heaven forbid, social media blacklisting or things, or media blacklisting. Your brand and your reputation are always on the line. Everything you do and everything anyone in your organization does is ultimately your responsibility. So we want to make sure that people are working towards continuous improvement, faster, easier, more efficient, more effective ways of doing things, not just cutting corners by trying to make things cheaper, easier, faster for the person that's actually doing the job. Worked with a gentleman at one corporation I will not name, but he had a terrible safety record, and he ended up cutting off one of his fingers one day, and I ended up having to take him to the hospital because he was always cutting corners, meaning he was cutting the safety protocols out of the processes that he was in charge of doing, and that led to the amputation of his finger. Now, we did get his finger, we did take it back, but he did get it sewed on again. But he learned, I hope he learned, I'm not in touch with that organization anymore, I hope he learned his lesson that your finger isn't worth shaving 2 seconds off a job or taking 3 less steps in a job to get that job done. caused all kinds of problems with that incident in particular. We had to shut down the production lines. Not going to say what we were making, but we had to go back and sort and find all of the production that could have been made in that period in case there was blood or contamination or anything else in it. So cutting corners, not a good idea for your business or your life, but looking for continuous improvement in our life, always a good idea. Love to know your personal experience with this particular idiom, this expression, cut corners, also known as cutting corners. It goes both ways depending on how you're using it in a sentence. Share that in the comments below because I would love to know. And I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow with another interesting idiom. What does it mean? Where does it come from? And how might you use it in your business and your life right now? Have an awesome day.